there's something wrong with the way I eat. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong.
Stephanie Parker is a freelance journalist who suffers from anxiety and from an eating disorder. Her coping mechanism is going to her local bookstore.
This is the meat of where I come. The pictures of food are soothing again for me and help me get ideas.
But there was a point when Parker could barely even look at food.
I couldn't actually articulate that I had an eating disorder. I live alone, and being locked up in my apartment, for me, was just devastating.
What was that like?
It's like the third ring of hell. At one point, I thought I was going to die. I was starving myself.
Parker's one of the unseen victims of COVID-19. She's one of the over 30 million people in this country who have suffered from an eating disorder at some point in their lives. And confinement and isolation have pushed many to their limits. When New York City shut down, Parker found herself alone in her apartment, face to face with an illness that had been in her life since childhood.
When COVID hit and everything just locked down, it felt like within a weekend.
Yeah.
I started to get really scared. And for me, my eating disorder feeds off of isolation. And then I started doing a lot more self-punishment behaviors when it came to food.
What does that mean?
Not eating. Like I would bleach my house once every few days. That would take hours. And I would get up, at the crack of dawn and just clean. And then when I was hungry, it was tons of just processes that I've made myself complete before I would even allow myself the thought of eating.
But the one thing Parker can count on if there's another lockdown is that there are more online communities offering help now.
Anybody who has an eating disorder, they can go to these different support groups. I found the most helpful to be in a person of color support group, and it's changed my life.
Without being able to hold face-to-face sessions, the eating disorder community was forced to get creative during the pandemic. In March, the Instagram COVID-19 eating support account was launched.
Hope everyone's staying safe.
Now, the group's 9,000 members go online to watch daily meal support sessions, where a volunteer eats on camera.
Hope other folks are getting some snacks too, or some dinner. Whatever feels good.
When someone's relationship to food comes with a lot of emotions, watching a friend eat can dispel some of that fear. They invited us to join one of their sessions. This one was led by Dr. Marcela Raimundo, a trained psychologist who's recovering from anorexia.
Please avoid discussion of numbers, calories, sizes, weight, miles, minutes, etc. Your authentic voice can be more than your eating disorder voice.
Out of respect for participants' privacy, we agreed to hide their names.
Hello.
Hello.
Why was it so important to have this type of support system for the community at that time?
When the pandemic happened, all services were just shut down, and it created a lot of concern, a lot of panic about how are we going to help folks? And then this Instagram Live was created, and I was like, wow, what a fantastic idea, and to have people on a scheduled time where they can just eat live and eat with folks and engage in dialogue.
Right, someone just said in the comments, this is the best thing that's happened during COVID.
But despite all the support now available, the pandemic has challenged even those who had made progress, including social media influencers like Ryan Sheldon, who is far along in his recovery.
So when we're in a place like this, now we're in a kitchen, you're facing food almost every day. When you see eggs, as you're holding them, what do you see?
I see yummy, nourishing food. I don't really...
Was that always the case?
Oh no, are you kidding me? It was like an obsession. People don't realize how eating disorders in general can take over your life.
After Sheldon was diagnosed in 2015, he became a spokesperson for the community, and that got him attention, eventually leading him to become a plus-size model. But COVID-19 tested his resilience and brought him back to a dark place.
What did you resort to?
A lot of crying.
I mean, was food kind of an escape to that guilt? Was food?
For sure. I mean, listen, I'm not perfect. I found myself binging. I also found myself restricting. But instead of going down the rabbit hole and being like, what am I gonna do? How do I get out of it? I stopped myself and I called my support group. Aren't those delicious?
It's really good, but I put a lot of salt. Wow.
Okay, we're starting to kill it. We're starting to kill it.
It also helps Sheldon to be modeling again. It gets him out of the house, gives him balance, and also helps him push back against the stereotypes of eating disorders.
What type of impact do you think these photos have, particularly on men that have eating disorders?
Men are conditioned in a lot of ways to think that they can't be in front of the camera if they're certain. But when they see men in larger sized bodies that look like them, that represent them, they think that they can potentially do that as well, which they can. I don't know if I'm into these shoes or I should wear the Timberlands. What do you think?
I actually like those better.
It's very Christmassy, right?
Yeah, I like that.
What do we think? Hair good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Messy, not messy?
Good.
Where are we going?
How do you manage social media these days? So many people depend on you online, yet it's also something that has harmed you. How do you balance
That's a great question. Every time I go into therapy, my therapist is like, which Ryan do we have today? Do we have that Ryan or do we have this Ryan? And it took me forever to figure out what is the real Ryan, because I feel like I didn't know.